It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Welcome, everyone, to the Divas That Care Network. I'm your host, Amy McKenzie. Today's show, The Wow of Women, features the remarkable journeys of women whose powerful and extraordinary choices positively impact people's lives. I am so excited to introduce our guest today, Maggie Vincent Michelle. We have had such just a glorious connection, and she is so committed to making a contribution to women, to all people really in the world, that I just really wanted to bring her on. Let me tell you a little bit about Maggie first before we bring her over. She is really something. She's a successful speaker, a #1 best-selling author, not to mention a very determined, empowered life strategist. She has an incredible story. She immigrated from Haiti at 20 years old, can you imagine, and came to America on her own, got herself through college, and then literally became a registered nurse working for some of the most prestigious medical institutions in this country. On top of that, Maggie embodies compassion. She is so warm. You're going to love her. She is one of those energetic powerhouses. She's overcome so many odds and just refuses to let any challenge limit her in any way. Maggie, we are so excited for you to share your story and be inspired by you today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Amy. It is a pleasure to be on the show.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have you. And there's a lot to share about what you're up to now and where you're going and, all of the transitions that you have weathered, even just since you've been in this country. But I think it would be really meaningful for our listeners to backtrack, if you don't mind, really kind of drawing a picture for us of what it was like for you in Haiti, growing up there, what kind of courage. I mean, I can't imagine there's a lot of people who really summon what it takes, the courage, the grit, the perseverance, and determination to do what you did. So would you mind sharing some of your background story with us?
Oh, not at all. Well, it was a story of a little girl who grew up. By the age of 6, at least that's what she can remember, she looked around and it looked like things were not normal. She had a feeling things could be better, even though she really didn't know what better looks like, because there was really nothing, no gadget, no television, nothing like that to tell her what the difference is. Whatever was around her didn't seem normal to her, because she could not be fed. She couldn't have a good place to lay her head at night. And she said, that can't be normal. But nevertheless, she continues with her mother, who had 2 other siblings, and going like that. When she went to school, she noticed other little girls were talking about their father, but she didn't have anything like that to talk about. And that's when she went home and questioned her mother, Mom, do I have a daddy? And her mom told her, yes, you have a daddy. And back then, you were not able to speak to your parents. You were the child. You had to be silent and follow whatever was there. Long story short, she continued, and things were really challenging. But by the time she turned 10 years old, she said, when I grow up, I will offer my kids, my offspring, a better life than this. There were times when she went to school, she didn't have anything to eat. We had something called rock salt. She would carry a piece of rock salt in her bag and on recess, and she would put it under her tongue just to get and then drink some water. There was nothing, but she refused. Somehow she thought if she had an education, she would get ahead in life. because all the little girls around her after middle school, they had to stay in the yard to feed the animals and help their parents. Most of the parents didn't even believe in sending their girls to school. They were to stay, but some were fortunate enough to just make it to middle school, and then that was it. But she told her mom, you know what, I'm going to have an education. And that happened to a point where when she finished her middle school, and she said, Mom said, what are you going to do now? She said, Mom, I'm going to high school. Mom said, but how? I can't send you. There's no high school here. I can't pay. You have to pay for everything. Not to say that we're not part in Haiti where people are very privileged. They can send their kids. They can provide all that, but her mom couldn't. That was not Maggie's case at all. Her mom couldn't do that, but she told her mom, I'm going to have an education. She was determined to have that education, even though she didn't know how it was going to happen, but she did. But you know what? To make a long story short, doors were open. She went to all the odds. She did not only have a high school education there, but at the age of 20, she left the country. That's another story in itself. Her mother did not even know she was here until after 2 months later. Later, okay? She did have that education, and she went to one of the prestigious universities in United States of America, things that she never even imagined, but her dream was so strong. She focused so much, and oh my goodness, and doors were open to make that happen. You know, that's why today she wants to have a chance to tell others. It doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter how much you don't have, your social economy. It doesn't even matter. But first you have to have a dream. You have to be determined. And somehow, it will unfold right before your eyes. Amen.
It's really true. It's really true, isn't it? Yeah, when you have such a clear vision, it is amazing how if you stay with that vision, no matter how hard it is, doors do open. People sense your passion and your determination, right? And that's remarkable, Maggie. Really, incredible story. And I don't even have any idea what it took to get out of Haiti, but to continue to go day after day without even having food in your belly, keep your brain going. I mean, a little piece of salt under the tongue is heroic to me. And I look at how many people are handed that free education here in this country and just, throw it away. Don't even give it the time of day. When you have to fight for something, you really appreciate it. But I'm really stunned that somehow, without any media, you knew that this isn't the way it should be. You knew there was another way. And it is incredible that you didn't just come here and get in any school, that you got into school and completed all the way through to being a registered nurse. What must that have felt like the day you graduated? Take us to that day.
Oh, my goodness. The day that happened, it brought back a lot of memories. It reminded me of the day some of our neighbors, they were not really, it wasn't really, they were able to, they have some means of, they had land where they could cultivate to sell goods to send their kids to school, because we didn't have a high school. We didn't have even a good middle school. It was really in the far part of the country. Okay. So some said when they heard I was going to high school, which is something none of the little girls around me was able to do, so they said, "Oh, what is she gonna do? Oh, she thinks she can send her daughter to high school? What is she gonna feed her?" I'm sorry to say, what you see, that's really, really, it hurt. But
Yes.
when that day came, and I said, it did not only happen in Haiti, it didn't, but it happened in America. I didn't have anybody here, something that did not even come to my imagination. So, sometimes people, I'm so grateful that we have people here who are willing to help others, which is exactly why I do what I do. I want to help other women connect with themselves to really find their gifts. To perform, to
so
find
beautiful.
their gifts, to really serve. Because some, they want to see, okay, instead of encouraging you, instead of saying, "Oh, we're proud of her mother for even trying," instead they try to say something that was not very nice at all. So when that day came, and I said, I remember those days when I was looking at other kids who could eating during recess, and I couldn't. It was hard, but I said the next day, I'm going to school. Mom said, there's nothing today. I'm going to school. So all that
you are incredible.
Back, and I said, oh, it paid off. And I already had children at that time. I had 3 children. I was already married because it took a long time. It took about 9 years before I could have a green card in the state where I resided to be able to go to school. So at that time, I did have 3 children, and I was married. And throughout school, I had to carry the household. Unfortunately, my husband wasn't as determined as I was, and he was wondering, how are you going to go to school? How are you going to go to school? I said, I'm going to do it. So I worked full-time throughout and still end up graduate with honor. And it's not to brag about myself. It's to say to women, whatever it is you want to do, if you put your mind to it, you can do it. You can do it. So it did bring.
That's just remarkable.
Very, very joyful.
So full-time job and 3 children, and you put yourself through nursing school and graduated with honors. Oh my goodness, you are really something else. And so, okay, so now, as if that's not enough transition for one person in one lifetime, let's move on a little bit, because I know that you then, you worked really hard to accomplish that. And then one day, there was an aha. Something switched for you.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
Yes. I remember that day. There was an aha moment when I was in my room, and I was just reflecting on life. And I looked around, and I said to myself, I am so grateful. I'm thankful that I'm able to take care. At that time, I was divorced, and with my 3 children, finishing high school to go to college. I made sure I prepared the university. Make sure I prepaid prepaid 4 years for each, and I'm thankful.
Wow.
I'm thankful for that. Okay, and I said, okay, I'm able to do that for my kids. And I continued in Haiti to support. I do it a kid at a time. I would send a young girl to school. They finish high school, and I would pay for them, send the money from what I make to pay and help them complete university so they can have something. Because their parents, I know how it was, and I know one day when I was on the street trying to catch a ride to go to school, even 10 cars didn't stop, but there was one that stopped, and it wasn't my family. So that's why I go back and I said I help them one at a time. But to me, if something told me that wasn't enough, that I needed to do more. Is it life? Is it all about taking care of yourself and your family alone? At the end of the day, is that all? And I realized something kept telling me, you need to do more, you can do more. Back then I didn't know how to go about it, what it is I'm supposed to do, but from that point, it was in 2013, I started searching. I started researching what can I do? I have all these dreams. What can I do to help more? And that's what led me into today.
That's incredible. Okay, so first, just to touch on that for people, there's nothing wrong with just taking care of your family. If people did a really great job with that and raised conscientious, loving people, they are making a huge contribution. That's a wonderful thing. And, I have a saying, if you can, do, because you're needed. And you are a very, obviously, extremely capable human being. In a situation where women were definitely not treated equal, not to mention, literal poverty, to be able to overcome all of those things, literally relocate to a foreign country without a single soul knowing you in advance, and move your way all the way through, it's clear that you can. And so it makes sense that you would want to do, because you're capable of it. So now, thank you for sharing all of that. It's extraordinary and incredibly inspiring, although it's such an accomplishment. Some of us might say, oh, I don't know if I could be a Maggie. I don't know if I could do that. So my hat's really off to you. But I love that your heart, and now that you have accomplished all of that, that you are looking to see what else, what next. So pick us up now from that point. What's some of the things that you've done since that aha moment? And then we'll get up to today of what's next. But what happened after that aha moment? What is the kind of some of the things that you have found to engage in?
Well, some of the things that from that aha moment is I have met some people who really helped me to work on myself, because when you are, I have to tell people, not just women, we have to work on ourselves first. We have to look within and bring change into ourselves, because before we can go ahead and implement change in the world, okay, or in our surroundings or in other people. We have to look at ourselves first. So since then, I have really had the privilege of working on myself to change and for the better, and to take the torch again, because I had stopped dreaming. I thought I was done after I had a career, and I've taken the torch again. I want to really go as far as I can to help. So since then, I was able to find a way to write a book. I contributed with other women, and then I wrote my own book. And I have had the chance to speak into small groups of women, and I do counsel women one by one, and where they bring change into their lives, where they thought they couldn't do anything at all. I have a young lady, she would not get behind a car to go 5 feet away from her house. She was so scared, and we worked together. And when she told me, oh, I'm able to get on the freeway, I go this, now she can help her husband and everything. So that gives me great joy to be able to get her beyond her fear, and now she can actually operate. So since then, I've been working. Yes. So that's what I do, help them strategize and help them divide, be able to save, how to do it, because there is a way. When you don't know, you can work and you can have money, and somehow you're not really productive. You lose it. How to have it and keep it. Okay, so all those things. That's what I've been doing so far.
And you were not taught that growing up. So this is another skill set that you've acquired. Yes, there's something you said too that I really loved. The privilege of working on yourself. And I love that you put it that way. I've said for some time, raising our consciousness is a luxury. on the one hand.
Yes.
And you are in a perfect position to correct me if I'm wrong, because we were not wealthy. Like it was actually, we were pretty poor in early stages of my life. But that's American version. Okay, I'm really clear about that. But I've always kind of felt that if you didn't have your basic needs met, probably the last thing on your mind was raising your consciousness. It is a privilege. Am I correct in that thinking?
It is a privilege to do that, to make that, because I can remember being a slave of myself, of my own mind. I can remember the constant worry that I had because I was the breadwinner. If I couldn't work a day, what would happen? I'm constantly stressed about not having enough, the fear of not being able to provide for my children. That never happened. When I was able to get rid of all that and know, oh my God, and know that I will always have it, I have abundance around me. When I was able to lose that and break free from that chain, there is no greater feeling. So yes, it is a privilege to be able to do that, because there are so many who are still in captivity from that alone.
In their own mind.
What is spreading in their own mind? And when you look around right now, what is spreading around is fear. So that is priceless when you're able to really break free from that.
And you are such a contribution and an inspiration for people to, put the grappling hook back in, get that, get yourself hooked back up and start climbing again. What an incredible story. So now you are in the process of yet a whole nother chapter, this wonderful chapter in your life where perhaps, and, I could be wrong, but I'm kind of hearing that maybe Maggie's moving now from one-on-one, which is still great, but that there is perhaps a calling for you to be reaching more people at a time. This story is powerful. What about that? What about the idea of speaking to more people as a motivational speaker, perhaps? Is that there in the future for you?
Yeah. That is in the future. That is in the future for me, to be able to stand before a public and be able to share my story to inspire others, not just women, but other people as well. Because yes, a lot of things that stop us is really, some people don't have the privilege of even dreaming, and then they put they tell themselves so many stories that I can't do this. It's the fear. There's something that's stopping them. So I want to be able to share my story, to tell them, if I could do that, if I could break all these barriers to get to where I am, it's probably nothing glorious for you, because if you don't know where I started, now it won't make any difference to you. But where I came from, how things were, even though we would have to take the whole day to go into details, but I summarized it, then you would know. If you would know how it was and where I am today, you would know there is nothing that you cannot really do if you put your mind to it. So yes, I want to be able to share my stories with more and more people.
Well, there's no question that you are an incredible lead to follow, and I want to make sure people can follow you. Give us a little input if someone wanted to bring you in to speak, or they just wanted to connect with you. What's the best way for people to do that, Maggie?
Well, so far, the best way to do that is reaching out either by my phone number, and I also have a group. I have a group of, it's called Women of Unlimited Power on Facebook. It's free. Then they come and join, and there is, so far that's that. I am on Instagram.
That's wonderful. I'm going to repeat that. Women of Unlimited Power.
Women of Unlimited Power, yes.
That's terrific. Okay. Great. I have a feeling you're going to have some of our listeners looking you up, because this is, it's really, really extraordinary. And I don't know too many people who have come as far as you have. I just really want to acknowledge you, Maggie, and not just for what you've accomplished, but what really stands out, yes, is that you've maintained your heart. And you were a candidate to be a bitter person. No father, no mother, the mother that couldn't help, the having to do it all on your own, the husband who maybe didn't quite carry the weight. There's so many ways that people can look to find a reason to see the negative, and you have so clearly chosen to go on a path that have you develop into, and continue to do the work on yourself, to develop into a truly heart-centered, lovely, warm human being. And I just really want to acknowledge you for that. Your presence is lovely.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. So we are getting near the end of the show here. It flew by. Before we close out, are there any parting thoughts you'd like to share with our listeners today? You have so many gems, but if you want to sneak in one more, we have time.
Well, I want to tell to all my listeners, and thank you for tuning in, and thank you for listening. And I want to tell you, no matter what anybody else says, just remember, you have the last word. By the way, that's the name of my book. The release date is going to be June 10th.
I forgot to ask you that.
Amazon.
The last word.
You have a say. You have the last word. It is up to you.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Great. So they can find that book if they tag in with you on Facebook. I'm so sorry that I got so engrossed in your story, I forgot to ask you about your book.
Yes.
So they can message you on Facebook and get the information? Okay, great. Because, I want the last word on the last word.
Yes.
Terrific. Oh, what a great way to leave us. Wonderful. We do have the last word, and it is our word.
Yes.
In fact, we create ourselves in word is something I truly believe in and experience daily. So that is perfectly aligned with who you are. Even your Facebook group, Unlimited Power, is possible within inside of our word. So it makes perfect sense that that's what you would title your book. That's wonderful, Maggie. I can't thank you enough for making time with us today, because you obviously have a lot on your plate. But it was so meaningful. I know our listeners will be thrilled to be able to connect with you, and just to hear your story is so inspiring. So thank you so much for being with us today.
I do thank you very much for giving me the privilege of being on the show. Thank you. I appreciate it. And
oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Well, in closing, obviously, we want to thank this remarkable Maggie Vincent Michelle. What a speaker, what a guest. We look forward to seeing more of her out there in the world. I want to obviously thank our listeners who make this possible, and our producer, the founder of Divas That Care Network, Candace Gish. Candace redefines the word diva to mean a courageously self-assured woman. Maggie fits the bill 1,000%. The Divas That Care Network, we offer women of all walks a platform for sharing their voice in the world. We invite you to join us. Visit divasthatcare.com. You can hear more inspiring stories, and who knows, maybe you yourself would like to add your voice to the conversation. We'd love to have you. Everyone's welcome. With that, signing off for this show, take care, everyone, and have a blessed day.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.